It was April 30th, 1993, a date that remains burned into the memory of tennis fans and sports historians alike. Monica Seles, the top-ranked women's tennis player in the world, was playing at the Citizen Cup in Hamburg, Germany. The tournament was supposed to be just another warm-up before the French Open, a place where Monica could get in a few matches on clay before chasing her fourth straight Roland Garros title. But what happened that afternoon would forever change not just her life, but the course of women's tennis history. Seles had just completed a game and was sitting down during a standard changeover. As players did at the time, she was seated mere feet from the first row of the crowd, separated only by a short barrier. Toweling off, she reached down to grab a drink of water. She leaned forward, just slightly, and in that split second, a man emerged from the crowd behind her. In his hand was a 10-inch boning knife. Without hesitation, he drove the blade into her back just below her left shoulder blade, penetrating nearly 1.5 inches deep. The man's name was Günther Parch. Security and fans tackled him before he could land a second blow, but the damage had already been done. Monica was rushed to the hospital, conscious and confused, her body trembling from the shock and the pain. The stab had narrowly missed her spinal cord by less than a centimeter. Had she not leaned forward to drink water at that precise moment, she could have been paralyzed for life, or worse. At just 19 years old, Monica Seles was the face of women's tennis, its most dominant force, and arguably the greatest teenage player the sport had ever seen. And just like that, her career, and her life, was derailed in the blink of an eye. The meteoric rise, a teen prodigy like no other. To understand why this story matters, why it still echoes across the sport, you have to understand just how revolutionary Monica Seles was. Born in Novi Sad, Yugoslavia, Seles was introduced to tennis by her father, Karolj, who coached her from childhood. From a very young age, she had a game unlike anything the tennis world had seen. A brutally aggressive two-handed backhand and forehand, no looping topspin, no hesitation, just raw, flat power from both wings. She turned professional at just 14 years old, and within 2 years, she rocketed into the elite ranks. By 16, she won the French Open, defeating the legendary Steffi Graf in the final and becoming the youngest woman ever to claim the title in Paris. That was 1990, and the start of what looked like a decade of dominance. From 1991 to early 1993, Seles didn't just win matches, she demolished opponents. She won 22 titles, reached the finals of 33 out of the 34 tournaments she entered, and built a staggering 159-12 win-loss record. She captured 7 of the 8 Grand Slam tournaments she played during that time. Her play wasn't just dominant, it was different. Unrelenting angles, thunderous pace, loud grunts, and a mental toughness that made her nearly unbeatable, even against veterans and legends. Many believed she would eventually surpass Margaret Court's long-standing record of 24 Grand Slam singles titles, a number that once seemed unreachable. And more importantly, she had taken over the throne from Steffi Graf, who had ruled women's tennis through the late 80s. Monica was now number 1, and she had no intention of giving it up. Rivalry and resentment. Graf versus Seles. Before Monica arrived, Steffi Graf was in her own era of invincibility. From 1987 through 1990, Graf held the world number 1 ranking for an astonishing 186 consecutive weeks. She had won the Golden Slam in 1988, taking all 4 Grand Slams and the Olympic gold medal in the same year. But Monica changed everything. She ended Graf's 66 match-winning streak in 1990 and then overtook her as world number 1 in 1991. Though their head-to-head favored Graf slightly at 6-4 by 1993, many of those wins came early in Monica's career. The balance had clearly shifted. The tennis world was preparing itself for a golden era of rivalry, a battle between the stoic, clinical precision of Graf and the fiery, fearless style of Seles. Fans were divided, media was obsessed, and for some, the idea that Graf could be permanently dethroned was too much to bear. For Günther Parcha, it was intolerable. The attack. Obsession in the stands. Parch was no ordinary fan. He was an obsessive Steffi Graf supporter, deeply disturbed and reportedly isolated from society. According to later investigations and court proceedings, he had become mentally fixated on the idea that Monica Seles had stolen something from Graf, and from Germany. When Graf lost her top ranking to Monica, Parche spiraled into an unhealthy obsession. He reportedly watched Monica beat Graf in Berlin in 1990 and swore revenge. He told police after his arrest that he had no intention of killing Monica, only of putting her out of action long enough for Steffi to reclaim the number 1 spot. In his twisted logic, if Monica was gone, Graf would reign again. That was his mission. And on April 30th, 1993, he tried to make it real. A broken system, no justice, no protection. Despite the horror of the event and his clear confession, the German legal system failed Monica Seles. Parche was declared mentally unstable but not criminally insane. The court ruled that because he had no prior criminal record and claimed not to want to kill her, his actions were not murderous intent. He was given a 2-year suspended sentence for grievous bodily harm, essentially a probationary slap on the wrist. He served no jail time. Monica and her team were stunned. They tried to appeal the verdict, demanding justice for a crime that had changed the course of her life. But the appeal failed. Monica also sued the German Tennis Federation for failing to provide adequate security, but that too was dismissed. And as if that wasn't enough betrayal, the Women's Tennis Association WTA players were asked to vote on whether Seles, still a teenager and the clear world #1, should be allowed to retain her ranking during her recovery. Not permanently, just until more was known about her condition. The vote was unanimously against her. Every player voted no. It was as if she had disappeared. Aftermath and personal collapse. Though the physical wound healed within weeks, the emotional toll was devastating. Monica developed a binge eating disorder triggered by depression and PTSD. She struggled to trust people again, and the court, once her escape from life's pressures, now felt like a site of trauma. As if fate hadn't taken enough from her, just weeks after the attack, her beloved father and lifelong coach, Monica Seles, was diagnosed with terminal stomach cancer. He would die in 1998, a few years after her return to tennis. Monica, now battling trauma, an eating disorder, grief, and public scrutiny, was alone with her pain. And the world, which once celebrated her greatness, had moved on. The comeback and the what-ifs. In August 1995, 28 months after she was attacked, Monica Seles returned to professional tennis. Her comeback was a global media event, and her performance didn't disappoint. She won the 1996 Australian Open, her 9th and final Grand Slam. But something had changed. She was still a top-tier player. She reached 4 more Grand Slam finals, but the invincible, indomitable Monica was gone. She continued to play professionally until 2003 and officially retired in 2008. But to many, the question was never about what she achieved. It was about what had been taken away. Had the stabbing not happened, it's likely that Monica Seles would have surpassed Steffi Graf's 22 Grand Slam titles, possibly even Margaret Court's 24. She might have redefined women's tennis in ways we can only imagine. Legacy, more than a champion. Today, Monica Seles is remembered not just for her titles, but for her resilience. Her story, tragic, inspiring, painful, highlighted serious flaws in sports security, legal accountability, and the way mental health is handled in professional sports. She became an early, unintentional spokesperson for athlete trauma, showing the world that even the fiercest competitors can suffer invisibly. She later spoke openly about PTSD, her binge eating disorder, and the emotional isolation she endured. In an era when such topics were still taboo, Monica's vulnerability made her a role model, not just for how she played the game, but for how she survived it. In the end, Monica Seles remains one of the most influential players in tennis history, not just because of what she achieved, but because of what she endured. She was robbed of her prime, robbed of her peace, but never robbed of her spirit. And for that, she will always be remembered, not as a victim, but as a survivor. If you are tired of feeling stuck in your tennis journey, training hard but not seeing real results, struggling with injuries, inconsistency, or feeling like you're not reaching your true potential, is because you're not doing what the pros do. The difference between staying where you are and playing like a pro isn't just talent, it's having the right system, mindset, and support. That's exactly why I created the Tennis Motivation Academy, for players who refuse to settle. If you're serious about leveling up, this is your shortcut. You'll get the Become a Pro Player Guide, so you train with the same structure as top athletes. Elite fitness routines, so you move faster, hit harder, and outlast your opponents. Injury prevention system, because pain shouldn't hold you back. A private community of winners, because who you surround yourself with matters. Spots are limited and doors won't stay open forever. If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting the same results. Don't wait, take action now. The link is in the description. That's it for today. If you found this video useful, leave a like, subscribe, and share it with your tennis friends. See you in the next one.